Good morning children, how are you all? Hope you all are doing good. So in the last class we have already started the chapter Important Dynasties of North India. Is it children? And we have learned about Chandragupta Maurya and Ashoka. So Mauryan dynasty was the first dynasty of India, is it? So after Mauryan dynasty, Gupta dynasty ruled India. Okay, so the prominent rulers of Gupta dynasty was Samudragupta and Chandragupta too. Okay, so these two were the prominent kings, okay, prominent rulers of Gupta dynasty. So first we will learn about Samudragupta. Okay, so Samudragupta was a brave warrior king. Okay, so the inscription of Allahabad gives the detailed information about this Samudragupta. Okay, so about his gallant victory. Okay, so the inscription of Allahabad pillar gives the narration, gives the detailed information about the gallant victory of Samudragupta. Okay, so this inscription was written by the poet called Harisena. Okay, so this inscription was written by the poet which was in the court of Samudragupta. So the poet name was Harisena. Okay, so according to this inscription, what it is tell, Samudragupta defeated 9 kings. Okay, Samudragupta defeated 9 kings. So by seeing his strength, the other kings realized his strength and they surrendered to Samudragupta. So Kushanas of Afghanistan and Satrapas, okay, Satraps means Shakas of Gujarat accepted his supreme power. Okay, so Samudragupta, he defeated 9 kings and the other kings who realized the strength of Samudragupta, these kings surrendered to him. Okay, so later he marched, after from the north, later he marched, Samudragupta marched to the south and defeated 12 kings there. Okay, so the king of Kanchi was one of them. In the memory of this conquest, Samudragupta performed Ashwamedha Yaga. Okay, Samudragupta supported for the welfare of education also, for the cause of education. He himself, Samudragupta himself was a poet and a musician. Okay, so he had earned the title called as Kavi Raja. Okay, Samudragupta had earned the title Kavi Raja. Okay, children. So his veena playing pictures were etched on the coins of those days. Okay, during the olden days, during the Gupta period, his veena playing pictures was etched on the coins of those days. So a Buddhist scholar Vasubandhu was his minister. So a Buddhist scholar Vasubandhu was Samudragupta minister. The golden coins project the power, wealth and grandeur of Gupta period. So they were golden coins. So these coins projected the power, wealth and grandeur of the Gupta period. Okay. So next we move on to the Chandragupta II. So who is this Chandragupta II? He was the son and heir of Samudragupta. Okay. So Chandragupta was the son and heir of Samudragupta. So he defeated the satraps of Gujarat. Okay, so Chandragupta defeated the satraps of Gujarat who were ruling it for more than 3 centuries. Okay, so they were ruling Gujarat, satrapas of Gujarat for more than 3 centuries. So Chandragupta II defeated them. Okay, so this was his major military achievement. So he gained the title Vikramaditya. After this he gained Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta II gained the title Vikramaditya. He realized new types of golden coins also. Okay, so famous poet Kalidasa. Okay, so you might have heard his name. The famous poet Kalidasa and others were in the court of Chandragupta. Okay, so next So next, his empire, his empire was economically prosperous. Okay, economically prosperous in the field of literature, architecture, sculpture, drawing, science, and mathematics. So there were tremendous amount of progress and a lot of achievements had taken place during the period of Chandragupta. Okay, so now coming to the next. Fahian. Okay, Fahian was a Buddhist monk from China. What was his name? Fahian. So Fahian was a Buddhist monk from China. As he wanted to visit the land of Buddha, he visited India during the rule of Chandragupta II. Okay, so he mentioned his experiences of India in his work called Go Gua Ki. Okay. Go Gua Ki. So this was his work. Okay. Who's Fahian? So his experience of India he has written in Go Gua Ki. Okay. And according to him, crimes were rare. So during the Gupta period, the crimes were rare. There were no crimes at all. So this was the experience of him. So next we'll go to the achievements. What were the achievements of Gupta period? So Sanskrit literature grew well during the Gupta period. Kalidasa was as I told you before, Kalidasa was the major poet of this period. Okay. So he was one of the Navaratnas present in the court of Chandragupta II. Kalidasa was one of the Navaratnas who were present in the court of Chandragupta II. He has written 4 epic poems. Kalidasa has written 4 epic poems and 3 dramas. Abhignana Shakuntala is the famous drama. Okay. Abhignana Shakuntala was the famous drama written by Kalidasa. Okay, children. So next, not only then Shudraka who wrote Mrichakatika and Vishaka Datta who wrote Mudra Rakshasa were the other famous playwriters who were present in the court of Chandragupta II. Okay. Next we'll see about the temple architecture. During the reign of Guptas, the temple architecture started. Okay, the Sanchi temple in Madhya Pradesh is an ancient temple of India, which is that Sanchi temple. Okay, Sanchi temple of Madhya Pradesh was the ancient temple of India. Other temples of Gupta period were present in Bithargaon and Devagad of Madhya Pradesh. The Dashavatara temple of Devagad has a beautiful idol of Vishnu. Okay. So next coming for the stupas and chaityas. Damak stupa, which is 128 feet. Okay. Damak stupa, 128 feet tall at Sarnath near Varanasi, was built during the period of Guptas, which is the Damak stupa. Damak stupa, which is 128 feet tall at Sarnath near Varanasi, was built during the period of Gupta. So not only the stupas, there were rock-cut Buddha vihars. Okay, in paintings, rock-cut Buddha vihars and cave temples of Gupta period can be found in the place called Ajanta and Ellora. So during the Gupta period, science, mathematics and astronomy, so they were given importance for that also. Science and technology had progressed well during the reign of Gupta. Aryabhatta from Pataliputra. Okay. Aryabhatta. So Aryabhatta from Pataliputra was a great mathematician and astronomer of Gupta period. Okay, who was that? Aryabhatta was a great mathematician and astronomer of Gupta period. So metallurgy, so during this period they were started using the metals also. So the iron pillar at Mehrauli near Delhi is an best example for this progress, how they used metals. Okay, so this pillar, though 1500 years old, okay, so this pillar which is that Mehrauli near Delhi is an example. So this pillar, though it is 1500 years old, has not rusted or suffered wear and tear. So it is one of the good examples. So they were started using metals during the Gupta period. And Ayurveda, so they were given importance for the Ayurveda also. Vagbhata of the Gupta times prepared a summary of the famous work Charaka Samhita. Okay, Charaka Samhita known as Ashtanga Hridaya Samhita. Ashtanga Hridaya Samhita. So this is an automative work on Ayurveda. Okay, so this is an authoritative work on Ayurveda and is being followed even today. So surgery was also practiced during this period. They were able to remove iron and stone pieces from the human body. So during those Gupta period, the surgeons, okay, surgery was also in practice, and they were able to remove iron and stone pieces from the human body also. Okay, so this was the information about Gupta dynasty. Next, after Gupta dynasty, Pushyapati dynasty came into existence. Okay, so first was Maurya dynasty, then Gupta dynasty. So after Gupta dynasty, Pushyapati dynasty ruled India. Okay, so after the decline of Gupta Empire, many independent dynasties arose in North India. Important among them was Pushyapati dynasty. So Harshavardhana was the most popular king of Pushyapati dynasty. So now we will learn something about information about Harshavardhana. Okay, so Harshavardhana was only 16 years old. Okay, only 16 years when he ascended the throne. Okay, he was only 16 years. He was only 16 years when he ascended the throne. By that time, many sad incidents had happened in his life. After the death of his father, Prabhakara Vardhana, his elder brother, Rajyavardhana Varma has ascended the throne. After the death of Harshavardhana's father, Prabhakara Vardhana, his elder brother, Rajyavardhana Varma has ascended the throne. Okay. And they also had a sister. Their sister Rajashri was married to Grahavarma of Maukari dynasty. Okay, so Harshavardhana's sister Rajashri was married to Grahavarma of Maukari dynasty. So there was a evil king there. Evil king of Malwa killed Grahavarma and imprisoned Rajashri at Kanauj. Okay, so he killed Grahavarma and imprisoned Rajashri at Kanauj. Though Rajyavardhana defeated the army of Malwa, he was killed by Shashanka of Gauda. Though Rajyavardhana Varma, the elder brother of Harshavardhana, defeated the army of Malwa, he was killed by Shashanka of Gauda. So during these turbulent times, Harshavardhana came to power. Okay, so during this time, after killing Rajyavarma, Harshavardhana came into power. Okay, so he located his sister, who was his sister Rajashri. Harshavardhana located his sister in the forest of Vidyaparvata, who was roaming around as widow. So he took over the Maukari kingdom of his brother-in-law. He made Kanauj, the capital city of Maukari, as his kingdom. Later he built a bigger army and captured Kashmir and Sindh regions. So he also invaded South India. When he arrived at the banks of river Narmada, he was defeated by Chalukya ruler of Karnataka, Pulakeshi II. Okay. So he also, Harshavardhana also invaded South India. When he arrived on the banks of river Narmada, he was defeated by the Chalukya ruler of Karnataka, okay, Pulakeshi II. Harshavardhana ruled North India for about 40 years. He was close to Chinese traveler Yuan Sang. Okay, so Yuan Sang was a Chinese traveler. He was very close to Yuan Sang. Harshavardhana was not only a warrior but he was also a poet. He wrote 3 plays in Sanskrit: Priyadarshika, Ratnavali and Nagananda. So these were the plays written by Harshavardhana. He had poets like Banabhatta in his court. Banabhatta wrote Harshacharita. Banabhatta wrote Harshacharita. So Banabhatta wrote Harshacharita, keeping Harshavardhana as his subject. So Harshavardhana supported education and donated liberally tremendous amount for the Nalanda University. Okay. So Harshavardhana was tolerant of all religions. He believed in, he gave respect to all the religions, though he was a Shaiva follower. He supported Buddhism. He organized religious conferences in Kannauj and Prayag. Okay. So next we will learn about, as I told you before, Yuan Sang. Yuan Sang was a famous Chinese traveler. He visited India 1400 years ago. He travelled in India for around 15 years and studied Buddhist literature. He studied at Nalanda University. Okay. He had stayed, Yuan Sang has stayed in the court of Harshavardhana for many years. He has recorded his experiences in India in a book called C.U.K. This was the book of Yuan Sang. So he has recorded all his experiences of India in the book called C.U.K. Okay, which means the record of Western Kingdom. So next, Nalanda University, which was in present Bihar, was a popular university for 6 centuries during Gupta period. It was the most famous university of ancient times. So students were coming to learn in this university from different places like China, Japan to study here. It had 8 schools and 3 big libraries. Though Buddhism was the major subject of study, subjects like yoga, Veda, medicine and others were also taught in this university. Okay, so in Nalanda there were no fees for education, boarding and lodging. To bear the running expenses of the university, revenue from 100 villages was pledged. Okay, so Harshavardhana was one of the chief patrons of this university. Students' life was disciplined and great scholars were among the faculty. So children, here we have finished this chapter. So in this chapter we have learned about 3 dynasties. One was the first dynasty of India was Maurya dynasty. So after Maurya dynasty, Gupta dynasty was ruled by India. After Gupta dynasty, Pushyavati dynasty. So the most prominent ruler of Pushyavati dynasty was Harshavardhana. So children, here I have completed the chapter Important Dynasties of North India. So here is the time to end the session. We will see in the next class. Okay. Thank you.